So in this problem, we're told that F1 is equal to 3I newtons and F2 is equal to minus 5I newtons. We're asked to find F3 and we're told that the mass of the object is 0.50 kilograms. So let's draw a little diagram. Here's our mass. So F1 is acting in the positive direction. So this is F1 is equal to 3 newtons. And F2 is acting back in the other direction. So F2 is equal to 5 newtons. And then in part 1, we're told that it's stationary. We know when an object's stationary that the acceleration is equal to 0. So Newton's second law tells us that the acceleration is equal to the sum of the forces over the mass, or we can write this as ma equals the sum of the forces. So this tells us that because a is 0, we've got that the sum of the forces, which is equal to force 1 plus force 2 plus force 3, is equal to 0. So force 3 equals minus F1 minus F2. So this is equal to minus 3I and then minus minus, so that's plus 5I. So this is equal to 2I newtons. In part 2, we're then told that it moves with a constant velocity of 5 meters per second. If it's got a constant velocity, it means there's no acceleration, i.e. the acceleration is equal to 0. So we've got exactly the same case as we had in part 1. So in this case, F3 is also equal to 2.0 I newtons. So this is a nice example of Newton's second law. So this is a nice example of Newton's first law, that a body in a state of constant motion will remain in a state of constant motion if there's no external force acting on it. So this is a nice example of Newton's, okay, cut all that nice example stuff. This is a nice example of Newton's first law, that a body in a state of motion will remain in the same state of motion if it's not acted upon by an unbalanced force. Part 3 then tells us that now it's accelerating in the negative direction. So the acceleration is equal to minus 1.0 I. And now we need to find F3. So once again, we have ma is equal to the sum of f. So that's F1 plus F2 plus F3. So this tells us that F3 is equal to ma minus F1 minus F2. So this is equal to 0.50 times 1.00 I. We've got a negative there because it's in the negative direction. Minus F1, so that's minus 3.0 I. Minus minus, so plus 5 I. So solving this, we have 1.5 I newtons.